All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the season opener, Press Row Hangout. We are finally getting to the beginning of the sports video game season, only 2 weeks away from the first major launch of the year. Very exciting times, and a great time to sort of take a look at a whole bunch of different topics that have come up over the last few months, sort of discuss them, clear our plate so that we can focus a lot on MLB The Show in upcoming weeks. A lot of good stuff to talk about tonight. I'm very excited. Joining me, as always, from the great state of Washington, from Pasta Padre, Mr. Brian Weedeye. Brian, how are you, sir? Welcome.
Yeah, it's exciting to be back, and I want to thank anybody who's watching live for DVRing The Walking Dead or The Jinx or whatever, or Last Man on Earth, whatever great show is on that you normally watch on a Sunday night that you're not watching at the moment. Thank you. We're happy to have you back.
Absolutely. And from the even greater state of New Jersey, from That Sports Gamer, Mr. TJ Larrabin. TJ, welcome.
Finally, That Sports Gamer has come back to the Press Row Hangout. What's going on, Rich? And Brian, how are you guys doing? The Jinx, I think he got arrested today. So
yeah, that was interesting timing on all that it happened on the same day of the finale. So
yeah,
curious, because they left it on kind of a cliffhanger last week on something they found. It's interesting.
Yeah, what's interesting is that I had not heard of this show at all until today when the New York Times reported that he admitted the killings on the show live and has been arrested. I'm like, who are these people talking about? I have no idea. To me,
did he really?
To me, yes, he did. To me, it's much more fascinating that the leader of Russia has been missing for like 11 days now, and nobody's really talking about that. To me, that's a much more concern. But hey, who am I to judge how the modern news media decides what's important and what's not?
Yeah, I heard Durst did it all for the nookie.
Well, I'm telling you right now, when I heard that Durst, and murder were put together in a headline, that's immediately what I thought. I was like, that Limp Bizkit guy finally lost it and went nuts.
Hey man, he's got that sweet New Era hat deal, so.
All right, so we are here, as I said, talk about a lot of good stuff. A bunch of listeners have sent things our way and comments and topics, and so we're going to hit a whole bunch of stuff tonight. We're going to start, first of all, TJ, with something that came up at last week's PAX East panel, something that has been causing quite a bit of controversy in the Ultimate Team world. Break it down for us, TJ. What is the deal with the changes that EA has made to Ultimate Team? Because they have caused a lot of conversation, some people to be happy, some people to be upset. What's the deal over there?
Well, I think the big thing is the FIFA Ultimate Team allows you to do a bunch of transactions on the computer. So one of the things a lot of people have done is like tap into that system so that they can put cards up on the block, buy cards and stuff. And that led to like a whole shady underbelly of selling coins for money so that people could go onto the shadiest of websites and give them their credit card information and hope that works out well. And just buy coins to buy cards because they didn't feel like the packs were good enough and they couldn't get enough coin to buy the really good players and stuff. So one of the things that EA did a couple of weeks ago was they turned off the web app and the mobile app. And now they've come through and said they're pretty much leaving those off. And now when you put up players, there's already going to be set like ranges for each card's price range, which, I mean, kind of makes sense because a lot of people were breaking terms of service, going through, doing all this crazy, shady stuff and getting their accounts banned, and a lot of people were getting screwed over. And I think the biggest thing, like the biggest backlash now is it looks like they took the average selling price of cards from all the consoles, because I think there's a PS3, PS4 market, a PC market, and an Xbox One, Xbox 360 market. And it looks like they just took the average price of all those markets overall. So I think it's PS3 normally has the higher prices because there's more people playing on 360 and Xbox. So pretty much if you got a good deal on PS3, those cards dropped in value a ton the next day when they put in all this stuff and screwed over a lot of people that way too.
So I'm still a little iffy on what the actual problem is. The problem that people want more coins than they can get? I mean, what is the core issue that's causing all of this, the activity that then had to be clamped down upon?
Yeah, I think it's just people hacking in through the website to go in and put up a ton of cards for sale that'll sell real quick, so they can make a lot of coins and then sell that for money.
Okay.
Well, and there's I think the issue of inflation, right? Most of the really good cards have risen to a point where normal people can't obtain them, right?
And that's
so
partially because of this. Is all those coin buyers are making people go out and spend $100 on 2 million coins, and then they can go out and buy these cards, and their prices just keep continuing to go up.
Yeah, so the idea is people would go, I guess, to like eBay, right, or some various websites, like you said, and then they would buy coins, and then they would go and list some cheap throwaway card, and the person they bought the coins from would buy it for some insane amount, and that's how the transfer took place. And so now by setting these price ranges, they eliminate that.
In a perfect world, that's how that works, because I bet a large percentage of the time people would go in, put their PayPal account in, transfer $200, and then have literally nothing. So
well, certainly, and then the people who are, they don't trust EA necessarily, just see this as another way to force people into buying more packs. So instead, the money that they would have spent on coins somewhere else, they're having to churn through more packs to get the cards they want, or they're going to have to play more and collect a lot more coins to get it. I don't know. It seems to have upset not just obviously the people who were making money off these schemes, but it seems to have upset the people, just the general people who are playing. And I don't know if they really think these changes are for the best for them either.
Yeah, I was really surprised that they kind of did it at the end of this year and not just started fresh next year with it. But
well, because these are live services, right? I mean, they kind of, one of the things I've sort of learned over the last couple of years is when EA uses the term live service, it really is, even though it's connected to a specific game, it really is its own separate organization, basically, managing these things. So they have a lot more flexibility with live services versus the core game itself. And I'm obviously purely hypothesizing, but it seems to me like they made the decision to go ahead and do it now so that they could really see if it would have the kind of impact that they're looking at, and they don't have to wait until next year's game to see if this will work or not. I mean, again, purely hypothesizing, but this Ultimate Team, particularly in FIFA, has a long and troubled history with things like hacks or things like people stealing money, at the most nefarious levels, as well as even at lower levels, all sorts of shenanigans related to auction houses and things like that. So this feels like another one of those things that we thought was sort of in the past, but clearly is not, Brian.
Yeah, it was back in FIFA 12 especially, there was a lot of phishing going on with people losing their accounts and getting locked down in the, I think it was mostly Xbox 360.
And I think even, wasn't the FIFA hacking stuff like kind of the stuff that led to the PlayStation Network going down for that month a couple years ago?
I don't remember that.
I think that was one of the main things that we were doing.
Yeah, so and also if you follow like the FIFA Twitter account or Facebook, all you get, every reply is like, click this link to get your free pack or your free player or whatever, all these scam again to try and steal your account because they want you to log in on a fake website with your actual credentials, and then they can go in and steal your account. So there's so much. Anytime money is involved, people are going to find a way around the system, a way to cheat the system, a way to steal. And that just naturally is going to come with these modes that these companies are relying on more, and they have to figure out a way to protect people better because not everyone knows how to protect themselves.
TJ, are you playing FIFA Ultimate Team these days?
It's funny, I actually turned on FIFA a couple days ago and realized I had barely played any Ultimate Team this year. My team is atrocious, and I still have some of like the trial players from when you start Ultimate Team. So I have not, but I've started a career, which is the first time I've done one of those in like 3 years.
It's just one of those things that, again, as we've talked about almost ad nauseum, as the Ultimate Team revenue padding, microtransaction-driven modes continue to permeate every sports experience. These are the kind of things that concern you. And I just think of not even necessarily, the 20 or the 30 or the 40-year-old guy who's, just actually has plenty of disposable income and doesn't mind dropping $100 to go get a bunch of great cards and things like that. But I also think of like, my son's too young, but when he gets to be a few years older, if he's doing this kind of stuff, those guys, those are some of the really, because he's not going to have his own account or his own stuff. He would be rife for pilfering as well. I mean, this stuff really gets ugly the more you look into it. And I guess, again, I'm clearly not an authority in this stuff, but I guess, is it right to say kudos to EA for trying to eliminate this now, or is EA really probably to blame for this being a problem in the first place? TJ, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on for years, and at least now they're finally doing something about it, but it's been a problem for a while. But as you said, you might want to go and drop $100 in FIFA points and open packs. You might not get anything. But you can go to one of these sites, drop $100, maybe get, I don't know what the exchange rate is, it might be 1 million or 2 million coins, and you can go pick out the players that you want, which, I mean, that's a better deal, kind of, if you're willing to go that way and risk getting your account banned and everything.
You would actually think that would be what EA would prefer is people having a positive experience. Like, so there, I've seen streamers who open packs on their streams and stuff, and they go through hundreds of dollars, and they don't get anything good, and they get upset or whatever. It's like that's a short-term gain for EA. They're bringing in that money right now, but is that really the positive experience that keeps people coming back? I don't know. And like TJ, you're the Ultimate Team guy, and it seems like certain things have been wearing on you. And I would think that would be one if you spent that much money and you didn't get something back that you actually enjoyed and felt like you got value out of. When you're just scrapping half of the stuff you end up paying money for, I think that. I'm not sure if that's a real good long-term strategy for these modes, but they keep growing, so maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, whatever we think is obviously wrong because they just keep making money hand over fist every year. So, but hopefully this makes it a little safer. I think that's one of the main reasons you don't see mobile apps for any of the other Ultimate Team games that you can spend money in. Because I know on the FIFA app you used to be able to buy. I want to say you used to be able to buy the points, but I could be wrong. I think you had to buy the points on the console, then you could spend them on the mobile app. But none of the other games I don't think have trade blocks or anything like that. But FIFA is the one that makes all the money, so that's where they're gonna try to fix everything first.
Yeah, and if I'm EA, I want to protect it as much as possible. If I'm EA, I don't want anybody to be able to profit off of my system except for me, and I don't mean that in a in some sort of corporate greed way. I just mean literally, if I've built this infrastructure and I've designed this system and I've put the parameters in place for how revenue is generated, I don't want outside influences who had nothing to do with the creation of this to then profit off of that. So I'm surprised that there are outside ways to still do this, but again, I guess with the even as we mentioned at the PAX East panel last week, when you take all of these different systems, right? You've got the FIFA system, then you got Ultimate Team, then you got real money, then you got social media, and you've got the ability to have different people have accounts, and then these accounts. I mean, there's a lot of stuff at work to make this whole thing happen. I guess it's like you said, TJ. It seems like no matter what they do, people are going to devise ways to extract money out of it. But boy, the more insular that EA can make this, I'm sure the better off that they'll be. Whether anybody else will be better off or not. But I'm telling you, if I'm EA, I don't want anybody making money off of this mode except for EA, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right, but you got to think maybe they were turning a blind eye to it the last couple of years as the game kept getting more fans watching people opening packs and getting good cards and playing more FIFA. Those people get more excited to play FIFA and spend more money. So.
Sure. Right. No, I totally get that, and that's where it comes into where, okay, we don't truly understand how the money is made. I mean, we know people spend money to get the coins to buy the packs, but yeah, what truly keeps those people coming in and coming back and stuff is something that we still don't have the insight to. We just know that every year the numbers get bigger and bigger and bigger, and at some point they'll stop getting bigger, but they haven't stopped, and EA continues to say there's still a lot of room for growth in that mode. Well, all right, let's move on to another topic we get asked about, PGA Tour golf. Looks like there might be life on the PGA Tour golf social media. Did I see something this week, Brian? Would I?
Yeah, you did, and I had just been thinking about this the last couple of weeks. That EA, it's one thing for EA to announce a game and then you not hear about it for a while, but the last time we heard about PGA Tour, anything about PGA Tour from EA, other than the delay of it from a financial call, was E3 last year. And this is normally the time of year right before the Masters now. It used to be like mid-March, and then it became early April, when the Tiger Woods games, it's not, it's no longer Tiger Woods, but that's when the Tiger Woods games would fall. So we're right in that period where it would generally be almost to release or right at release, and we have not heard a word from EA other than that it's delayed sometime into the next quarter. Likely looks like it's going to be June. I've speculated over the months. I thought it was interesting that they went silent, and not only just they didn't have a press release for it or anything, but there was their Facebook page for PGA Tour had no posts from like October 3rd, not even about just golf, nothing from October 3rd on until just the other day. And the Twitter account, it was tweeting out some golf-related stuff, but nothing game-related. So I really thought it was interesting that it's gone that long without anything, especially given the time of year that we're at. And despite the delay and everything, that there's still a few months, it seems, for them to promote it. It just tells me that maybe something changed along the way, because it was not a good reception the game got at E3 last year. I don't know if they maybe tinkered with things with their strategy afterwards, or if there was an issue in development, because this is the first game, the first golf game for them on the new systems, and it's only coming on the new systems, and it's without Tiger Woods' presence at all, not just the name. He's not in the game at all. And they started with this whole fantasy course thing to try and attract people that maybe were just drawn by the name in the past. So there's a lot of stuff going on with the game. It seems like it's been disrupted in some way, and it'll be interesting to see what they do. But I'm just fascinated with that it just kind of dropped off the map for 9 months.
My attitude with a lot of these things is I'm whenever they're ready, I'm ready, but I'm totally cool until they're not ready to. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not chomping at the bit for a new PGA Tour golf game, but if they're like, hey, it's coming out next week, we're like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, these, can you imagine the amount of time and effort that it goes to build legitimate PGA courses with the next generation art assets and having just to create those courses and the characters, right? Because we know, let's face it, some of those characters on the previous generation consoles look pretty bad, right? So I'm sure they want to make them look good. They got to do the face scan. They got to get each of the different swings right. Not to mention physics and stuff. I mean, I would assume that they're building a lot of this stuff from scratch, and that there's a whole lot of work that goes into it. So I'm not surprised that we haven't heard much. I'm not surprised that it is delayed, and I put delayed in air quotes because, I mean, if you never really announce a date, it's not truly delayed. From my perspective, I'm looking at from EA, from sports. I mean, my God, they've had nothing come out. Like, I want to reduce my risk and maximize the amount of dollars that are going to be spent on my game. And if this game is coming out in June or July, and Madden comes out in August, and NHL in September, and FIFA in September, and NBA Live in October, I mean, that's like putting all your games in like a 3 or 4 month window. I mean,
that's why we need a subscription, right? That's if they're going to do that.
We need some sort of access to all these games.
Electronic Arts need to consider an access to their games, yes.
And as we've said, golf does not lend itself to an annual release nearly as well as any other sports game does. I mean, I'm almost of the attitude like, hey, take another year. I'm fine with that personally as a consumer. Again, not from a business perspective. I'm like, take another year and release it next March when all we got is baseball. From a sports game perspective, baseball and golf, I'm cool with that. I would have no problem with that. TJ, I'm sure that's probably a disastrous idea in about 10 different ways, but from a consumer perspective, by the way, when I can play golf anytime I want to with my friends right now. So again, it's not like I can't do it. TJ, is that crazy, or what do you think?
Before last year in NHL, I would have said you're crazy. But now that we've had NHL come out with half the stuff in it that was in the year before, I'd be willing to let them take another year to keep going. But if you've been following the @EA Sports Golf feed on Twitter, it kind of looks like they're getting ready to do some stuff.
Yeah, it does.
Because 3 days ago they said, let's get the ball rolling, and there was a golf ball rolling over the EA Sports logo.
By the way, were you sure that's a golf ball?
It's a blue ball, so maybe
looks
they're
like
ready to burst.
I saw people say that's an egg, which would imply something happening around Easter, maybe.
Well, yeah, and also 2 days ago there was a PGA Tour 2 Flashback Friday, and then I guess yesterday there was another one that said, before we move forward, let's do one more. Let's go back. Let's throw it back one more time. So hopefully by Thursday we'll hear something before they have another Throwback Thursday.
Well, right, and that's my point. Like, if they're ready and they're like, hey, it's coming in a few weeks, I'm all for that. Let's go. Let's do it.
Are you saying this is okay for them to wait, Rich? I wonder if because of the golf club.
Well, the golf club, the golf club, you guys know I love that game. I can play golf whenever I want to right now. So it's not like NHL where I could not get any sort of hockey experience on my PlayStation 4 or my Xbox One. I can play golf right now. Yeah, it ain't PGA Tour golf, but it's golf and it's a solid game. So
do you think that's trouble? Do you think that's trouble for EA that as someone as like the golf purists who bought the golf club, that they don't really feel the need for a golf game?
Of course it is.
Yeah. I think that's probably a concern of theirs.
Just like I don't want any competition in any business, right? I mean, as a consumer, you want competition. As a video game maker, it's better to not have competition. And when I say competition, I mean every game has competition from not just a direct competitor in that sport, but other sports games, other non-sports games, movies, television. Like, there's always competition. But at the bottom line is, yeah, if I'm EA, I'm not happy that somebody's making a golf game. Or if I'm EA, I want that golf game to bomb, right? But I don't know how the golf club has done from a financial perspective, but I know that I like it and a bunch of my friends like it, and we play it regularly, and they keep adding to it and making different new features available, and now tours and careers. And yeah, like I said, if they come out with it in the next month, I will buy it happily and check it out. But if it doesn't come out for another year, I'm not freaking out or even the least bit concerned. I'm like, okay, when it's ready, it's ready. Because, TJ, it's a great point. With NHL, it wasn't ready. So there's plenty of stuff for me to play in the meantime. PGA Tour can come out next week or next year. Either way, I'm good, as long as it's a good game. I'm in, but I'm not like clamoring, oh, I need it now. Not at all.
And stepping away from the sim golf, one of our favorite games from the Vita, it looks like Hot Shots Golf is going to come out this year on the PS4, so we'll have even more golf to play, Rich.
And that is a really interesting experience. I liked Hot Shots on the Vita, didn't love it, but I didn't love it because there was some stuff I just didn't understand about the best way to level up the character. It took way too long just to get to like the next basic step. But yeah, I mean, Hot Shots is a long-beloved franchise on the Sony platform, so I'm kind of surprised that has not already existed. So that's something else that would be good to check out. And the Xbox also has that golf game that came out at launch too. So, there's a lot of different golfing experiences you can have right now, or it sounds like you will be able to have. And yeah, that would be concerning for PGA. But on the other hand, none of them are licensed PGA Tour games with licensed PGA Tour players, and we all know that people like to play the real courses and the real guys, and so that is the feather in their cap that they have that nobody else has.
Yeah, especially after today when the Valspar Championship went to 3 playoff holes with 3 guys.
It's the paint I bought.
Yeah,
that's that. I know Valspar. Okay.
Yeah, went to 3 playoff holes with 3 guys, and the guy hit a 30-foot birdie to win. It's pretty nice. And I was like, let me go play with this guy, but can't do that.
Can't do that. All right, moving on. Something else a little out of the blue or out of left field. Forza Horizon 2. I'm not sure if either of you guys have this game, but they recently announced that there will be a free expansion based upon the latest in the Fast and the Furious films. Brian, you're an Xbox One owner. Do you have Forza Horizon 2? And if so, are you looking forward to this?
I bought it, but I don't have it anymore, but that doesn't matter. The great thing about this Furious 7 tie-in is it's free. You don't even need the game. Now, TJ... Yeah, see, that's the best part, right? You don't need the game, and you still get it for free. TJ doesn't have the console, so...
So I will just watch Furious 7, because that's going to be a great movie.
Yeah, but you won't have the game where you're racing with the cars from Furious 7.
Yeah, but...
And I doubt it happens, but I really want to drive out of an airplane.
That definitely sounds like a good time.
So,
but yeah, Forza Horizon is based off the engine, right? So it's basically Forza, just a chunk of Forza Horizon 2 themed to Furious 7 to tie in with the movie release, which happens. This comes out on March 27th. The movie is, I don't know, April 3rd, something like that. So yeah, and they're giving it away. So I'm excited for that because Forza Horizon 2 is a fantastic racing game.
Yes,
it's probably the best racing game on the new systems. I don't know. You might disagree. You were the one who liked or disliked Drive Club, or did you like it?
I don't really like Drive Club. Yeah. I've tried it even after a lot of it got fixed. We all know the story. It came out completely broken in most ways. It took a couple of months to get to where all the social stuff would work. I know people who love it. And who play it regularly. I get friend updates because there's certain kinds of competitions that you can be in, and if you are at the top of the leaderboard, your friends will get notifications. It looks amazing. It just, for me, just didn't ever really grab me, and I still have it, and I've been kind of wondering why I have it because I really haven't played it for a while, and I think what really ended it for me was even before everything had been completely fixed. They gave you some stuff for free, but then they also started charging for some DLC and some cars. I'm just like, it's just, I don't know. Again, I can't think of a better looking game on the PlayStation 4. It really does look amazing. The cars are beautiful. They're really distinctive. The tracks are fantastic, but I don't know. I gave it a bunch of tries, and it never truly grabbed me. Forza Horizon 2 I thought was much more fun. Very, very easy to get in and play. There's some challenging parts, but at no point did I ever feel as frustrated as I have in Drive Club 2 with the level of difficulty. I'll be curious to see it. I mean, it's a timed window, right? It's not free for everybody forever.
2
right?
weeks. 2 weeks you can download it for free, and then you get to keep it. So you might as well get it in those 2 weeks. After that, they charge for it. Yeah.
After that, it's $10.
I mean, it makes sense, too, right? Because if you haven't played Forza Horizon 2 for a while, or you sold Forza Horizon 2, or you never picked up Forza Horizon 2, and you get this and you like it, you're like, wow, maybe I should go check out that Forza Horizon 2. I mean, I don't have any idea what the development costs were to put this together. Obviously, they're building on an established engine, but I mean, it took.
Universal makes Fast and Furious. I'm sure whoever makes it, they paid in big for this tie-in. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, it might just be one of those, it might just be a line item on the marketing budget for the movie. They're like, hey, we spend $25 million on marketing, and 1.25 is to build a free game that'll get people excited. I don't have any idea, but, there are a lot of different ways that people are trying to advertise and market and expose people to their brand, and to me, it's a great idea. I mean, I'm never going to go see a Fast and Furious movie in my life, I can guarantee you that. But, sorry, Kevin Larrabee. But I will definitely turn my Xbox One on for the first time in many months when this comes out, download it, and give it a try. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I'm clearly not their target market, though.
Yeah, Rich, Fast and the Furious is a great movie series. You should probably get in on that.
There are many great movies and television shows series that I have not watched for the past 7.5 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
just because you screwed up doesn't mean you can't fix that. Next month there will be more Fast and the Furious movies than Star Wars movies. Think about it.
Well, for a few months, yeah.
Then they'll be tied again. But.
Yeah.
In my brief spare time that I have, I enjoy playing video games as opposed to watching movies. That's just me. What can I tell you? All right, we have to talk about this. There has been discussion, rather interesting discussions around the prospect of this Joe Montana football game. People
Never heard of it.
really desperately want a alternative to Madden. Everybody wants an alternative to Madden. Even those of us who like Madden would love to see an alternative because, again, we're consumers. We love football. We love sports. We just want to see more, 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 and all our industry has done is give us less, less, less over the last 10 years. So, I don't know, I'll go with you, Brian. Let's start off with you. What are, without going too in-depth on it, there have been forum posts that have said, okay, there's a new game coming out. It's going to be Xbox One and PC exclusive or Windows 10. It's a sim football game. It's going to be super competitive to Madden, but there's no real information. There's just a couple of these people spouting this stuff. Do you think there is any truth to not the fact that Joe Montana football will be a game, but the way that it is described in these anonymous forum posts?
Well, first of all, TJ, you shouldn't say that. You broke the news. You posted a picture on Twitter that proves 2K is involved, which apparently they're not. But
also, every joke I've made has been followed up the next day by someone doing something ridiculous.
Yeah, it's what happened there. Yeah, so it is a game. We do know that.
Well, we've seen some videos. We don't really know if it's actually a game.
Well, I think they claim it to be a game. So what we have, though, is a lot of people piecing together nuggets of information. It barely qualifies as information, but in the hopes that we get another game. And we do know it's coming. We don't know what platforms it's going to be for. It began with the idea that it was actually just going to be a mobile game. That seems to be not the case anymore. But yeah, there was one forum post in particular that kind of blew this thing open, and I'm not sure why. I think it's just because of the detail it went into that people kind of bought into a little bit. There's a lot of faulty logic and incorrect information in there, but there's enough of it that made people think, maybe there's something to this Xbox PC thing. And I think people expect it to be NFL. I don't know if that's really certain yet, especially with some of the other information that's out there. Like the post claimed that the game would release in July, but there's no way if it was NFL licensed, the NFL would allow one game to come out a month and a half in front of the other game. So it's interesting to follow, though, because every year we get a rumor, usually just made up by certain people, that there's another football game on the way, that 2K is working on a football game or whatever. There's a possibility that there could be another NFL game. I don't think under the circumstances that are rumored right now necessarily, but I think there could be another NFL game if, of course, the extension that EA signed was not an exclusive. We don't know if it was exclusive because EA refused to comment on it, which was fishy at the time, and now you have to wonder as you start to hear rumors of various things. So, it's kind of a fun thing. I'd rather be following a rumor like this about another game coming into the market than another game being canceled. So I'm I'm interested in what's going on here, but I'm not getting my hopes up, particularly for a first-year game or for a new NFL product or anything like that until we actually have some facts. And no one really seems to have a grasp of what's going on yet, and they don't seem to want to divulge anything about their project.
Which, again, I am totally fine with, right? If there's no new football game, oh well. If there's a new football game that gets announced tomorrow, great. Until it's actually out and available, to me it's a non-issue. The only thing that makes it obvious that this is fake is the July date, to me, Brian, right? I mean, there's no way that a NFL licensed game would be allowed to come out for Madden. If anything, they'd have to come out on the same day. Now, again, you could say, oh, well, starting next year, the Madden could come out on July 2, but ultimately, this just sounds like a lot of baseless rumor mongering by people who love to get people excited because they know that there's millions of people out there who love football video games, who want to see more competition. They know the place in the heart of so many people that the last 2K football game played. I just, the thing that I don't understand is why people do this. What benefit do they get? I don't understand what the benefit
internet
is.
trolls, Rich. I mean,
guess,
we'll never understand that whole thing.
I guess. I mean, so it's not that I don't want a new next generation built from the ground up for the next generation football game. Of course I do. Everybody does. I don't believe it, and it doesn't make any sense.
I think what will end up happening most likely is parts of it will end up being true. So it'll either be an NFL game, but not on consoles. It might be PC, mobile, something like that, or it'll end up being a generic game with that's actually on consoles, which could release in July. Because that's when All Pro Football released. I don't remember when Backbreaker released, but you can release an unlicensed game
whenever you want.
Yeah. Right. And so I think parts of it could end up being true, but I like the basis for this whole rumor. I think it just doesn't stand up for what we would anticipate.
TJ, tell us why everything in that forum post was true and why we will see a brand new next-gen Microsoft platform NFL game next year.
Well, it's obviously true because no one has ever made an exclusive game and then not had to sign an NDA to talk about it. So obviously, if they're just not signing NDAs, that's how it works. Pretty sure that's how the industry works.
You broke embargo with your image, TJ.
Technically, Joe Montana broke embargo.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have retweeted that. I just looked. That tweet has had 40,000 impressions, which seems low because I feel like I get that favorited every single day. Rocky, calm. But yeah, weird stuff is going on with this. Like that day I tweeted out that we're working on MontanaTips.com. And the next day, someone bought the domain.
It was actually the day before, though, that made that so interesting. It was registered the day before when I looked it up.
Interesting. So either I'm behind all of this, or I'm not. I'm fairly sure I'm not. Also, even more fuel to the fire, Joe Montana has since deleted that retweet. So obviously, one of his handlers said, "Hey, Joe, you're not allowed to tell them that it's a 2K sports game yet." And that's why he had to go back and delete it.
But I saw all the people surmising on the forums that Joe Montana's so careful with what he tweets. It must be true.
Also, that
TJ doesn't spread misinformation.
I've never told a lie.
It's got to be true.
Yeah, this game's. I feel bad for this game. Because really, no matter what happens, there's no way it can live up to this mythical hype that everybody's given to it. So even if it's a pretty good game, I think people are just going to rip it to shreds if it's not everything they expect it to be.
Well, let's hope that at E3 somebody walks on stage during the Microsoft press conference, announces this game as an Xbox One Windows 10 exclusive title coming in August of 2016. Let's do it. I love it. Until it becomes announced by some form of organization that actually has the ability to announce it, i.e. Microsoft or the NFL, to me, this is all just a continued extension of what happens, as you said, Brian, every year. A bunch of people just say, oh, this is the year they announced, the next 2K. Yeah, I don't believe it.
My biggest factor for this not being super true, especially the exclusivity part, whenever you watch a Madden commercial, it's 100% of the time on Xbox. Why wouldn't, if the NFL and Microsoft teamed up to go do this game, quote unquote, behind EA's back, why wouldn't EA just take all their marketing budget and go straight to PlayStation, where they already have more sales, they're going to have a bigger base to sell to people?
To me, this has nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with it at all, right? I mean, Sony allowed the MLB 2K games to be made for their console, even though they had an exclusive game for the show. Like, for years, you could buy MLB 2K and the show on the console, on the PlayStation console. To me,
right, but that's Sony is first party. EA is a
right.
third party. They can just go wherever they want.
Right,
but go where the gamers are to the PS4.
Yeah. No, I get that, but to me that's people not understanding how the business works. Like Microsoft has their own platform. They want people to buy their platform. They are not beholden to EA to not develop first-party games, and by building an NFL game, I wouldn't think for a moment about ticking off EA. What would EA do? What benefit would it be of EA to then reduce the number of people that could buy their games by then not putting them on the platform and not marketing? To me, that doesn't even pass the slightest bit of the sniff test at all.
They've done it in the past, Rich, with online, right? In their titles.
Xbox Sports Studio.
Yeah, but that was because they wanted to run EA wanted to run their own servers, not have Microsoft run the game on their servers. That had nothing to do with exclusivity on the console. They still sold their games on it. They just didn't go on Xbox Live.
They could still sell their games on Xbox One, but not market it.
But why? Why? That doesn't make sense. That literally
Xbox
makes
is losing in the console war now.
But there are still millions of people who have Xbox Ones. It makes no sense whatsoever for EA to not market to the second largest install console base, to not market their games like that. 0 sense whatsoever.
But right now they're not marketing it on the number one console.
Sure they are. They're marketing it. They're making the games for them.
But when you watch a Madden commercial, it's always on Xbox.
Right, but everybody knows that has a PlayStation 4 that Madden is on the PlayStation 4. I mean, here's my point.
But I think Microsoft is getting a lot of money, or EA is getting a lot of money from Microsoft for that.
Right, they do have a marketing partnership, right? Plus they have EA access on Xbox.
Yeah, of course they do. And I just, again, not saying anything. To me, the whole Microsoft wouldn't want to tick off EA by making an NFL game. Microsoft wants people to buy the Xbox One. Not nearly as many people are buying the Xbox One as the PlayStation 4. If the license is not exclusive, then it's open competition. Nobody but Microsoft has the money and the resources to make an NFL game. They would not think twice about doing it if they could get the right people to make the game. I would do it. It wouldn't tick off EA. I'd be like, hey, you guys are making an NFL game, and if I'm EA, I'm like, go for it. I mean, to me, the whole Microsoft not wanting to tick off EA makes 0 sense. A lot of the other stuff might hold water, but that's bunk to me. I don't believe it for a second. And again, only because EA would then they would cost themselves much more money by not marketing the game or not making the game for the Microsoft platform. It'd be ridiculous. All right, moving on. Up next, the show comes out 2 weeks. Brian Weedeye, you've been gauging the excitement of your readers. Where's the temperature gauge right now on the show coming out in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier in the show. It's no pun intended there, but in this show, that it'll by the time the show, geez, I keep saying it. By the time MLB The Show comes out, it will have been just about 6 months since the last major sports game released. NBA 2K in early October. So
Pro Evo would be the only one that
right.
really even. Yeah, I mean that was November, but Pro Evo, the crossover between Pro Evolution and the show is probably relatively small, I would think.
Yeah. So I think people are ready for a new game, and the show, I say it over and over. The show is the steadiest sports game there is. It's the most reliable. You know exactly what you're getting from the show, so you go in knowing, hey, if I'm going to buy this game, I know I'm going to get out of it what I want to get out of it. You don't buy it for a great online experience, or for you. There's just you anticipate exactly what you're going to get for your money there and the value. So I think people make easy purchase decisions on the show more so than maybe other sports games, and so the feature set isn't really inspiring a lot of excitement, but just the game coming is. Because everybody is expecting, that good sim gameplay authenticity that the series does exceedingly well. So, but every time we look at the show every year, it's not a huge seller. It's not, like I said, it's not generating like an excitement for the the people who buy it every single year. It has trouble reaching a more casual crowd or newer consumers, so it just kind of stagnates there. But I'm really looking forward to the game just because it gives us something new to play, and my Mariners are going to be good this year, so I actually get to enjoy playing with my team.
Something to be said for that. TJ, you've watched the streams. I would assume you have. I believe I've seen you comment on all of them. What have you seen that has you, or what, if anything, have you seen that has you either personally looking forward to the most, or something that you've seen that has caught your eye, that interests you, has you ready to jump on the show the day it comes out? Because you even tweeted today, I believe it was today, the countdown clock. So you are clearly looking forward to this game.
15 days till, I guess, the download can start? I think that's what that means. But yeah.
Well, that worked great last year, so I'm sure it'll be perfect this year too.
There was no preloading last year.
Yeah,
Hopefully that works this year.
But
they didn't let you. Yeah.
I think it was supposed to be the first game with preloading, and then they took it away. But
they never confirmed whether it would or not. I remember that annoyed people.
Yeah, they pushed out the system update that allowed preloading like the week before, and everybody assumed it would be before. But yeah, it's all the little stuff. I'm really excited to have the licensed gear in there this year. I think that's going to make a big difference for someone like me who's looked at essentially the same game for the last, almost 10 years now. Yeah, that's going to be a nice little touch. I really like what they're doing with the lighting stuff. That all looks pretty cool. Though there was a lot of stadiums that were really hard for me to hit in last year. So I just hope I don't end up starting a season and finding whatever stadium I play in a ton of the time is going to have whenever it gets to the 7th inning, I'm not going to be able to see anything because of the sun coming in.
No, the backdrop and stuff. Does that make it more difficult? Yeah.
Yeah, like last year, I could not hit in Seattle. Don't know why. Especially with lefties, couldn't see anything. Just flailing all the time. Yeah, stuff like that. And I hope online works this year because I like the stuff they're doing with Diamond Dynasty and how you can earn a bunch of stuff in that just by playing normal games and you get packs. But I think a lot of people don't realize that a bunch of the Diamond Dynasty stuff, you're actually getting stuff for the other modes too, which nobody else or no other game really does that. Where you're getting the boosts for your Road to the Show guys and the boosts and stuff you can use in franchise mode and stuff. So just kind of looking for the complete package, trying to figure out how I'm going to do my True 162 this year after the tragedy that was last year's True 162.
Yeah, what kept me playing the game more last year than any version of the show ever was not the graphics, it was not the lighting, it wasn't the player models, it was the fact that we had our online franchise and 2 or 3 or 4 of us were able to play in this world that even though we didn't play each other, we were all there together, and it just was a lot of fun. I'm hopeful that can be improved. And TJ, you and I played some online games late in the year, and they were better. They were not bad. They were not good.
We were the 2 people on that server, so it was
that's right. So, I'm hopeful because all of the stuff that they've talked about sounds great. And I'm sure it will be the better lighting, the improved stadiums, more player details, the licensed equipment. That's all great, but will that? After the first couple of days, will any of that matter? What is it going to be that's going to keep you playing? The fact that Road to the Show appears to be virtually the same means I'm going to ignore it again. I don't think I've got it in me to play. No, I know I don't have it in me to play 162 games completely against a CPU without anybody else in the real world sort of being involved in it. I doubt I'll do Diamond Dynasty related stuff. I doubt I'll even dabble in it because thankfully this year I'm not reviewing the game for any outlets, so I don't have to force myself to do that for 5 hours just to realize once again I don't like it. I can literally, for the first time in 10 years, I'm going to be able to go out and buy a game of the show the day it's released and just play it the way that I want to play it and then just talk about it on Press Row. So I'm really, frankly, just looking forward to that, not having the pressure of having to come up with a day one review, after having it for a week.
I'll tell you what I don't know what it says about the game, but for me the thing I'm looking forward to most is actually the faster loading times. which is weird because that's not really a like a back of the box thing like that I would normally. But the show was the worst sports game in terms of loading times, and it was dreadful, especially because you'd play a mode like Road to the Show, where you might be in the game for 5 minutes. I usually play as a relief pitcher. And so you go in, you might pitch an inning, or sometimes there's just one out. You go in, you get in, and you're out, and you spend more time loading than you do actually playing the game. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. I think just that on its own could actually make the game a more enjoyable experience for me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally. I mean, I have no doubt that the show will be great because the show is always great. I mean, it was our game of the year last year for crying out loud. I'm just interested how now that the brand new PlayStation 4 newness is no longer new, I guess, for a terrible way of saying that. But now that it's no longer, this is now the second year. Yes, it will be improved in a lot of ways. I'm excited to play it. I'm going to have it day one. I'm going to play it a lot. But I'm wondering if it's going to sink its teeth into me like NBA 2K15 has. I play NBA 2K15 every day or whenever I can in 2 different modes. I'm nearly at the All-Star break of my second year with my player, and I just found out literally today on the treadmill, my coach walked into the locker room and told me I made my first All-Star game, which was a really cool moment. I'm playing right now, and I'm streaming them when I play them, and I've had a nice little group of people come in, sort of follow me. I'm in the Eastern Conference Finals of my GM season. I'm doing with the Brooklyn Nets, which I have completely changed that team. I traded away a bunch of players, a bunch of guys got hurt. It's been a blast. Like, I'm curious if the show will replace NBA 2K as my after the first week and everybody's excited about it. Will that stay, or will it stay NBA 2K? Again, it's just a Rich Christian personal thing. It's just I'm curious to see how that will be for me. Go ahead, Brian.
The stuff you described there, Rich, tells me it's not, because you just described story mode related stuff, off the court / off the field stuff, which the show doesn't have. Because Road to the Show has gotten really old, because that's just a pure playing mode. You don't have anything off the field involved there. And then the franchise mode, you don't get any of that GM mode stuff in there either that you have in NBA 2K. So, I mean, there are different things to do in the show, obviously, but if those are what hooked you into NBA 2K, I'm not sure if the show has the equivalent for you there.
Yeah.
Or you just do what we did in our Madden League, and the story is our emails. So if you want, you can go right now to Twitter, at CyDarmer32 on Twitter. You can follow him. My Road to the Show guy is going to have a whole Twitter backstory and everything. That's how I'm going to keep myself into playing Road to the Show and have more fun that way. There
you go. I like it. And so it will be very interesting. Again, I have no doubt it'll be great. If online, and for me, really, it all comes down to online. If the online is decent, and if the online franchise bugs are ironed out, I'm in. I am completely in. Because that is why I personally played it through, what, TJ, November? Is that when we finally wound down our last one? My goodness. I love that game.
Something interesting I want to test is this month, actually, Sony is releasing a PS4 update that adds things like suspend, resume,
right,
which actually might come in handy for baseball. But one of the other features is 60 frames per second on share play. Now, the show was the only game we tested that really was just unplayable on share play.
That's right.
Which is interesting. I wonder if there's just something about the game that makes anything with a connection really horrible, because everything else played well on share play. But,
yes,
but maybe going to 60 frames per second, who knows? Maybe the show becomes playable through share play too. Because it worked. There was no problem with timing in Super Mega Baseball, for example. So it's not just a baseball thing.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to see if there's anything, if SharePlay actually works decently well for the show, or I'll just let TJ come in and SharePlay me a good Diamond Dynasty team, and then I'll play with him.
Yeah. Well, you got to play a lot of regular games so we can open a lot of packs.
Oh, packs.
We're going to have a lot of fun with the show. A lot of plans. We're going to do a lot of streaming the first week. We're going to do, some impressions early. We'll have a couple of Press Row podcasts that will incorporate impressions from a lot of us. Trust me, if you want to know what we think about MLB The Show, you will definitely know it for the couple, 2 or 3 weeks after it comes out. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff as we can. Speaking of NBA 2K, though, Brian, interesting thing popped up over the last few days, a week or so ago maybe. The NBA 2K14's servers are being shut down at the end of March. What does this actually mean, Brian? For example, a guy like me who spent, I don't know, probably 200 hours playing my player, once those servers are shut down, is he gone forever? Do I have to go download him onto my PS4 to never use him again because I'm well into two? Like, what's the deal? I mean, obviously you won't be able to play online, but is there more to it than just that?
Yeah, so it's interesting because this was really the first sports game that was always online.
That's right.
So everything was connected to the servers because of virtual currency. So we had always wondered what was going to happen when they actually do shut down the servers. 2K shuts down the servers pretty quick. This will be so 2K14 is being shut down at the end of March, which makes it 17 months open with 2K14, or actually for the normal console, for the PS3 360, 17 months, even less for PS4, Xbox One. I guess it'd be like 15 months essentially. So what's happening is the servers are being shut down, so you can't play online. You can't play My Team mode on there anymore either. And they haven't been allowing you to buy virtual currency for at least a few months. So now everything that's connected online is going to, other than those things, is going to convert into an offline mode. So if you're playing your My Career mode, that becomes offline, essentially, right? And your VC turns into SP, which is skill points, I think. So you'll still be able to continue that, but it's there's a reason why people played connected online. That was be able to buy virtual currency or earn it. It was just a different system. And offline, you kind of lose some of that. Not sure exactly what you're losing with the. I'd have to go back and look and see what you couldn't do offline that you could do online. But it's the same with my GM also.
Is it an update to the game that is going to do that, or
no? It's the same thing actually that would happen if you. So you remember the servers for 2K14 were down for long stretches of time. If you continued your mode when the servers were down, it's doing the same thing it did before. It would turn your save into an offline save, and then turn your VC into skill points. And so that actually caused problems back then because people would continue it while the servers were down, and then they couldn't reverse it. You couldn't get back to an online one with VC and stuff. So that's the same thing that's happening if you started an offline career or if you had it convert when playing offline. That's just happening now when it goes offline.
TJ, as a consumer, what is the right amount of time that you would expect a game that is heavily reliant upon online being turned on, no pun intended? What's a reasonable amount of time that you would say a game like this its servers should stay on?
I'd probably say maybe at least 3 years, just because you're not going to get people that buy every single year. There's going to be some that'll buy every other year, and then there's still going to be stragglers coming from behind. But I don't know if you're playing a 3-year-old game, are you really going on to play people online or to still play the My Team and Ultimate Team modes? So maybe 2 years is okay to turn it off after that, but this is still too short, I think. 17 months. I think EA usually did it. I think it was 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, they go 2 years, sometimes a couple months more than that.
Yeah. Or if it's the last game in a run, they'll usually leave for a couple years. I think
NCAA is still on, right?
Still on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the 2K8 college basketball game, didn't that last for
a long time,
4 or 5 years, something like that?
Long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 3 years, I would say, minimum just to be safe. But at
I mean,
least
to me, 2 years is the right one. I mean, if I buy a game, NBA 2K14, I would think that it would be reasonable to keep it servers on until NBA 2K16. Like 3 years to me is a stretch. I mean, people move pretty quickly from experience to experience. I think, I'm not even saying 18 months or 17 months is too short. Again, my personal situation is that the day NBA 2K15 came out is the day I stopped playing NBA 2K14, even though I pumped hundreds and hundreds of hours into 14. I often say, one of these days I'll go back and I'll check and see what's going on, and I never do. But I'm not like most consumers, right? Like most consumers don't buy every sports game the day it becomes available and talk about it on the Press Row podcast. So, to me, 2 years, between releases is the right amount of time. Brian, what's your right amount of time that you would feel is fair to everybody? Because again, it costs money and resources to keep these servers going too, right? So it's not just all on one side. You got to look at it from both sides.
Yeah, well, I think over the years, 2 years seemed about right to me, right? Because it's the numbers are minuscule of people still hanging around and playing, so there's really little reason to support those products anymore. Now, when we talk about shutting down the servers after 15, 17 months for something that was built around being online and connected, that can be a little different.
Agreed.
I think just in general, 2 years, and I think you were right on with that, Rich, 2 years, because if you don't buy the next edition and you're still playing that game after 2 years, or if you just bought it and you don't care about the rosters and stuff, I think after 2 years, 2 editions, most people have moved on and accept that. There really is no backlash to shutting down servers for this year for shutting them down to Madden 12 or something. Nobody's going to be upset about that. But if you shut it down for Madden 25 right now, there would be people who are bothered by that.
I think there's still people ripping packs in Madden 13's Ultimate Team.
Really?
Too.
Yeah.
That's what they do when they get all angry about Madden 15 packs. They'll go back and rip Madden 13 packs.
And you know what? If I'm still collecting real-world dollars on that, keep those servers going. I mean, that it's an interesting thing too. Like the VC in NBA 2K14 is not the VC in NBA 2K15. They're different. So, I'm curious. I wonder why the guys decided to not allow VC to still exist anymore on 14. Maybe it's just a pure infrastructure play. Like they look, okay, well, the money that we could make, it's not worth it for the resources it's going to take to keep these servers going. But who knows? Interesting decisions that I'm sure will never be shared publicly, no matter how much we ask. All right, last one. Brian, you're doing a piece soon for the Sporting News about the impact of all of these, this insane NFL activity with free agents, and we haven't even had the draft yet, for crying out loud. Brian, what is Madden 16 going to look like with all of these different players going to all these different places?
Yeah, if you remember recently, EA put out the list of like the 5 teams used most in Madden. And a few of them will stick around, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Patriots. I think the 49ers will be falling off. And who's the other team in there? I'm not sure. But there's a lot of changes that are being made, obviously. And I'm putting together a piece now. I'm in the process of writing it all. And really with like the top teams that improved, the top teams that dropped off based on their acquisitions. And so not just the free agency, but also the trades and retirements and stuff. And so among the teams I have that are sliding, sorry, Rich, your Eagles are not going to be as good as they were last year.
What? What do you think? They got rid of their quality quarterback, their Hall of Fame caliber running back, their top receiver? What are you talking about? That's crazy.
Yeah. So of course I'm talking. Maybe it works out in real life, right? But in terms of Madden, it's a far weaker team. Number one, they become. I said this on Twitter. They might be the most fragile, injury-prone team in Madden history.
Chip Kelly's special protein drinks will magically take care of all of that.
Yeah. So yeah. So I let's see. I noted here. Bradford is by far the lowest rated active quarterback in Madden with his injury rating of 71. So pretty much if you get sacked with Sam Bradford, he's going to be gone, not just for the game, but if you're in a franchise mode, probably like 6 games, right?
Yeah,
that's not really saying much because Andrew Luck gets sacked and he's got a 98 injury rating. He misses 6 weeks.
That's you got to give me credit because I hit stick him every time. So
well,
yeah.
Stop doing that, please.
I know. I feel bad for you sometimes, and then other times no. So Ryan Matthews is a 79 injury. That's one of the lowest for running backs. Walter Thurmond is a 77 injury. That's one of the lowest for cornerbacks. Kiko Alonso, of course, coming off a year lost to an ACL, and DeMarco Murray. He has a decent injury rating in the game, 85, but he's actually a little more injury prone than that, and he's lower than McCoy. So it's kind of dangerous there, and so yeah, they did get to DeMarco Murray, but I would also argue that LaShawn McCoy's a better video game back, and anybody that's played Rich in Madden would know how he uses him. He won't be able to use Murray quite the same way. So.
Wait a second. You're telling me we're not going to be able to import our rosters from Madden 15 next year?
You wish for a franchise mode. So yeah, it's not all Eagles though. 49ers, obviously, they lost a lot of players, a couple great ones to retirement. Then I have possibly the Lions, who lost their great defensive tackle duo, although they did get Haloti Ngata. The Raiders are an interesting one because they had $50 million cap space, and they didn't sign really any impact players. You know, they got a good center, but in Madden, come on, nobody cares about a good center in Madden. Then
the offensive line is crucial in Madden. That's why LaShawn McCoy gets all those yards. All my offensive linemen are some of the top rated in the league. So, you know, from a Madden perspective, having a good offensive line is probably more important than having good skill players.
They didn't really upgrade though, because Wisniewski was already pretty good. And then the Patriots, which is it's not just sour grapes for me, but they lose Revis, Browner, and Wilfork, which are 3 really impact players. That did bring in Jabal Sheard, but so they're just not as effective of a Madden team anymore. Because I think if anything, with Madden cornerback, because most people don't control the cornerbacks, so those talented cornerbacks you can just leave out there on an island, more important than anything. And then teams on the rise, I like what the Bills did. They've got some really dynamic players there now. The only question really is quarterback, and Castle is a little better than E.J. Manuel there.
I think that's a massive question at quarterback for the Bills.
Yeah,
massive.
Yeah. So but with the Bills, you actually get a choice now. Do you like the more mobile Manuel who has a stronger arm? And again, we're talking about Matt, not real life. Or Matt Castle, who's more accurate and has he's just more accurate. That's it as far as I can see. So you have the choice there, kind of at quarterback for people who control the Bills. The Dolphins, I really like what they've done. The Seahawks getting Jimmy Graham just makes them more explosive. The Colts, it won't be a good franchise team, TJ, because half of their players are going to retire in the next year or two. And you already went through that with the 49ers once, so I would say don't pick the Colts next season. But for 1 year with Andre Johnson and Frank Gore.
What I do with 1 year this year with the Colts. Got my ring. Got
your ring. So yeah, that's just I'm kind of putting it together. I'll break it down on Sporting News again this week. But just the Madden teams that improved or dropped in effectiveness for next year in terms of playing online or in a franchise mode.
Good stuff. Well, hey, this has been a lot of fun. It's always nice doing a live hangout. It's good to be back. As I said, when the show comes out, you can look around these parts for all sorts of live coverage, commentary. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. Between now and then, of course, we'll have this audio will be part of this upcoming week's Press Row podcast. And the good thing about recording on a Sunday and then having it go live on a Friday is that between now and then, you'll probably have EA announce PGA Tour coming out just in time for the Masters. You'll probably have Joe Montana Football officially announced for the Xbox One and the and Windows 10, and that NBA 2K14 servers have been extended for another year and a half. So
if that happens, we'll just re-record and pretend that it was all. We knew it was coming.
That's right. That's right. All right. Well, hey. As always, thank you everybody who's watching live for doing that. We appreciate you taking your time on your Sunday night to come join us. And for everyone who's listening on the Press Row podcast, thank you, as always, for being a listener. If it were not for you and for the great people at Operation Sports, this show would not exist. I also want to once again thank everybody who came out to our PAX East panel last week. Between that and the show you want to be a live streamer panels that TJ and I were both had the pleasure of being on, those were two of the coolest things I've ever done. And absolutely one of the coolest days. I want to say once again a special shout out to Zach Farley and Steve Gibbons for letting us join on that panel. That was an amazing moment to be in a room completely jammed full of people looking and listening to what you had to say. That was amazing. So thanks to everybody. TJ, anything you want to mention before we get out of here?
No.
All right, Brian, anything you want to mention before we get out of here?
Yeah, I have. So I've got a NCAA tournament bracket challenge
Nice.
open. You can join it. The group is called Pasta Padre. It's on ESPN Tournament Challenge. I'm just throwing in a small prize to the winner, a $20 gift card. There's no entry fee or anything like that. It's just for fun. So $20 Amazon gift card. And I also have on the website a giveaway for the show. You can enter, have a chance to win a copy of MLB 15, the show.
Awesome. Can't beat that. So, for Brian Weedow from Pasta Padre and TJ Lyman from That Sports Gamer, I'm Rich Grisham. Thank you, everybody, as always, for watching and listening. You're the best, and we'll talk to you again real soon.